What are your thoughts about kids and screens?
The issue is not screens. The issue is hypocrisy. You can't talk about screens all day and say how shitty they are, and then when you have your friend over and the kids are making noise, you throw the iPad at them. I just don't understand why parents continue to blame technology instead of themselves. And the second you blame yourself, well, then you can start controlling the outcome you want. We are getting better and better and better and better at pointing fingers. It's the government's fault. It's this religion's fault. It's this tech company's fault. It's this app's fault. It's this influencer's fault. We've gotten so good at blaming absolutely everything but ourselves that we're starting to hit a tipping point. The reason people are so unhappy is because they're judging everyone. We're all judging each other, which is actually just a tell that means you're judging yourself. We're just in this perpetual thing, and so, you know, I think screens are incredibly positive and incredibly negative, the same way I feel about everything. I think we have to start the beginning of a new chapter in modern society. I think it's time to start blaming ourselves. And the second you blame yourself, well, then you can start controlling the outcome you want. But blaming screens, but then not enforcing it in your own home, when you have 100% control, because you're worried about your child being mad at you for a little while, seems soft. What world do you think your children are going to be living in? Screens are going to be amateur hour. If the metaverse is right, which I think it's very hard to see a world of why it would not be right, because I would argue we live in the metaverse now. How many hours are you spending looking at a screen?
7.
So, you know, like, where do you think this is going? I would be flabbergasted if in 60 years people aren't living in a Ready Player One world. It would make no sense to me, other than vacationing out of it. But like, technology only goes in one direction. We're not gonna ride horses down the highway. It's not happening.
Just a quick question about our kids. 90% of what the kids are learning at school is going to be done by AI in a much easier way.
You're very nice.
So, okay, 99%. So my question is, how can we direct them into things that you think AI is not? Because for me, the future is going to be AI and human doing things together. So what part on the human side can we push our kids? Thank you.
Giving someone advice on how to parent their child is the worst. One-on-one. Macro, there's clearly themes. Couple things. Right now, schools across the world are banning ChatGPT. What can we do? We can push against the schools and have a meaningful conversation. Here's what I mean by that. Schools are banning ChatGPT because they don't understand it. They're banning it because they think it's cheating or it's undermining what they're selling. They're selling memorization of commodity of information. Schools are selling for our children to memorize information that is commodity because it's at the fingertips of our phones. Meanwhile, ChatGPT and AI is about to teach the world the value of critical thinking. ChatGPT sucks if you don't input thoughtful, critical thinking. So we have this moment in time right now where we can literally teach children how to critically think. The singular thing that actually matters when we get older. Yet, we're just watching, and as a matter of fact, most parents are cheering the banning of ChatGPT because they fear new things, they're lazy to look into it, or they're just not thoughtful enough to realize what the fuck is going on. So I think a couple things. One, it's gonna be hard for you to find all the parents in the school to convince the school not to, that's gonna be hard. But what you do at home is not hard. And it's no different than screens. If a child feels from a parent, when the school is saying no to something, that they come home and you're saying yes to it, and you're teaching them, while you're learning yourself, by the way, of how to use these tools, it's invigorating because most kids start off not fully wanting to conform, and then they're just beaten down into it. And then they become anxious because they want to conform to doing well on something every 90 days, and the whole thing is just whack. So I think the biggest thing you can do is try to teach them how to critically think, and I think AI is the first scalable tool. I mean, you could have done it with search, but that was, we almost became too commoditized and we don't think of it that way. But there's a lot of actual critical thinking in search. Like, the better you are at it, the better your results will be. However, AI makes Google feel like the encyclopedia. When this is all said and done, we'll all be telling our grandchildren, no, Google was amazing, it's how we did everything, and they're gonna laugh. The same way that we all laugh at the yellow pages today. So I think doing things with your children, whether it's hiking, playing video games, like anything you can do with your child forms a real relationship. It's just very powerful. Normally we've already done the things we do with our children, but if you're able to go with your child on this journey together on how to become a critical thinker as an inputter to artificial intelligence, it may be one of the most fruitful journeys you can go on.
Gary, thank you very much.
Cheers. Thank you.
Before you head out, before you pick this,